have homes on separate coals, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Parents' Lounge. I am your host, Mr. Jason Gowin, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime, the national treasure known as Mr. Jamie Kaler.
Oh, dude, you should have been introducing these all along. That's magnificent. You know, it's funny. When we first started, we were talking earlier about, we got to get this going. Let's get it going. And we were running late. And then I know I watched the opening and it calms me in a weird way of like, it's kind of, I love the opening now. I really do.
You don't want to know what's funny? My son loves that song so much.
Catchy.
Like, we had to download it as an MP3 that he now listens to whenever, like, he's like, play the theme song, Dad. Play the theme song.
I mean, I literally recorded an afternoon, but as I hear it, as I try to go up to the other register, I'm like, we need a singer. Well, eventually we'll have somebody on. Maybe Richard Marx will come back and Bruce Springsteen won't insult him. And then he'll sing it for me. We'll see.
We do need a Richard Marx cover of our theme song.
How was your week? I am coming to you, by the way, from Detroit Rock City.
What?
I was in New York last week. I haven't been home in almost 3 weeks now. And I miss my bed.
Do you miss your bed?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
But are you enjoying the quiet of kidlessness?
Well, I'm working, so it's been kind of crazy. And I'm in Detroit downtown. It's cool. It's funny. We say it in the song. I bitch and moan the whole time, and then I'm away from my kids, and I'm like, I miss my kids. Just miss the norm of it all. But it's nice to. It's like nice to be in the room by yourself, going like, wow, this is what's happening around here. But yeah, Detroit's cool. Anybody from Detroit? Please chime in.
Yeah, let us know.
Detroit is. I love Detroit. Do you know Detroit at all?
I've only been there a couple of times and never for very long. I came in for a paranormal event, and that was pretty much the extent of my Detroitedness.
Did you have fun?
I did. I had a blast. I always have fun at those events because it's just basically a Dave Schrader party all weekend.
Well, and also people who go those things go there to have fun.
Yes.
It's like when somebody goes to, people go to a baseball game and pick a fight, and you're like, why did you come to the game? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's like people come to comedy shows sometimes and they sit like this, and I'm like, why are you here? So yeah, I'm the same. Wherever I go somewhere to have fun, and Detroit's been super. I've been here a few times. I did a baseball. Not a reality show, but a travel show. And I traveled to baseball stadiums, and Detroit Stadium was one of the locations we went to. And I went on the field. I played ball on the field. I caught batting practice.
Oh, how was that?
It was nuts, man. We'll have to show some footage eventually. It was just my buddy and I. We hosted it. It was for the Audience Network, and we convinced them to invest money in this travel show. And we just went to baseball stadiums: Detroit, Philadelphia, Boston, San Francisco, Chicago.
We need to do a dad reality show where we travel and meet dads.
Yes. No kids allowed. No kids allowed. No. They have to go talk to their mother. So I came to Detroit then, and we did a Segway tour around the city. And then we played in the park a lot. And it was super cool. And people rolled out the red carpet. Like other cities you would go to, and they'd go, what are you doing here? And when I came to Detroit, people were like, how can we help? And so we went to like the assembly line at 4. I didn't even know anybody. And I told them what we were doing. They're like, come on in. And I watched the assembly line with the sparks and the crazy machines making cars.
Oh, that's neat.
Really cool stuff. And I feel like Detroit, listen, downtown, you're on one block and you're like, wow, Detroit is really gorgeous and beautiful. And look at that crazy hotel. And then you take one corner and you're like, I'm in the wrong section of town. Would you excuse me for a moment? I'm terrified for my life right now. Like, and then you go to the next block and you're like, oh, gorgeous again. It's very surreal, but it is a city that I feel like they're so close to coming back. And I'm working on a movie for anybody who's wondering. I'm working on this movie called Stealing Jokes. My buddy Mike Young is a director and a writer, and he wrote this great, really funny movie about stand-up comedy. And I play a club owner. And so I'm here for like a few days shooting, and the whole the crew is all Detroit. And it's just quality people, man.
Orlando Jones is in the movie?
Orlando Jones, Josh Segarra. There's they're all up and comers. Josh is off of She-Hulk. Like, they're all like young kid actors. It's funny. I get there and I'm like, who are they? And they're like, then I see their credits and I'm like, oh my God, the dude was on Broadway for years. You know, you're like, it's crazy. But Detroit is like that city that is, and I think a lot of cities are like this, that, you know, in the heyday, like when this was the Motor City and GM and Ford were at their height, there was money to burn at this place, man. And people were killing it. And it was a seriously rich town. And I think a lot of towns are like that around this country, where people are raising their kids and you can feel they want to come back. It's like, we're here, come back. But the economy is just not
to that place.
Because you go by, whole blocks of just empty places.
Really?
Yeah. Still, it's crazy, man. Don't you see that in a lot of towns, though, really?
Yeah, especially like Western Pennsylvania with the steel stuff is, a lot of that stuff has died, and it's the same kind of thing.
Feels like all the jobs went from actually tactile jobs to
robots.
And like online stuff. Like, I saw a guy yesterday, his t-shirt said, eat, code, sleep, repeat. He's a coder. Like, that's what they do. He's just like, so everyone, instead of going to a place, are now like, everyone's online working. It's crazy.
Speaking of Detroit, did you know that we have a large Detroit audience for the iTunes version of this podcast? Detroit's like the third biggest city behind New York and LA.
You never tell me that. I don't know why. I didn't know that.
We don't talk about, we are on iTunes and Spotify and all of those things.
We remember when we had the Indian, we have an Indian contingency who were trying to destroy our show because they thought we were stealing their opening or something.
And the other interesting one that I don't quite know how it happened is we have a large French following.
Whoa. I did take, that was my college language. I had to take a degree language in college. I took French, and when I got to college at BU, I had to take a test to see where I would place. And I took the test, and it placed me into like French 3 or something, because I had taken it in high school. And I was like, all right. And I walked into class and nobody spoke English. They spoke French. I was lost. I was like, I obviously messed up on the test because I'm not supposed to be in this room. I need to go back to French 1. And I couldn't. Oops. Way over my head. It was really funny. They were like, oh, man. I was like,
for those of you out here, let us know where you're watching from and where you're listening from. Like, send us a message. Let us know where you're at, because we know New York and LA, like we know, locally to me, but we don't know where the rest of you are. We want to know.
How was your week, man? It's funny too, because I've traveled so much. I was in Jersey and then New York and now Detroit before I go home. And it's been, for all you out there who are traveling with kids in the near future, I tip my hat to you, because we traveled with our kids. And then since I booked this job when I was with my family, we talked about it, I think last week, that I was coming.
Yeah, you were going, yeah.
But I hadn't left yet and wasn't certain. And so my wife had to fly home without me with the kids.
How did that go? Because I haven't talked to you to ask. How did that go?
It was one of the longest days I've ever had. It was crazy. And so I go, oh, this is great. So we have to change the flight. I have to change my flight to JetBlue, right? And so everyone says do it online. I go, I'm afraid to do it online because I'm afraid if I get rid of my ticket, it'll somehow get rid of their tickets. Like, it's like this weird thing. And my seat was in the middle of them, so I really needed to like delete my seat and then move the 3 of them together in a group, because my seat was actually listed in the middle. And So I go, well, I'll call JetBlue. I call JetBlue, and they go, your estimated wait time is 241 minutes.
What?
I was doing the math. I was like, that's 4 hours and 1 minute. And so I was like, whatever. So I called back the next day. They were like 2 hours and 51 minutes. Every day I called. So finally we just go, we'll do it at the airport. So I go to the airport. I only cancel the flight like 3 hours before the flight. And I think for sure they're just going to go, they're not getting anything back. But this one woman, I ended up sweet talking this woman, and she was so nice at JetBlue. And because here was the other thing, we were at two different terminals. So I booked my flight 1 hour after their flight.
Right.
So I drop them at the terminal, drive to the rental car place. If you know JFK at all, everything's like a mile walk. So I drive back to the rental car place, get my stuff out, get on the train, the little air train, get to their terminal, find them. We go to the JetBlue counter. We go to check. I got to get rid of this ticket, thinking it's going to be a disaster. The woman totally hooks me up. She credits my account for that one half of the flight. And then I said, my wife's with the kids and she's in this terminal, but I can't get in. I'm at the other terminal. She goes, oh, I'll get you a gate pass. So I get a gate pass. I get them through. But I can't take my luggage I can't take through. I have to check it. So I have to leave them again, get back on the air train, go to my terminal, check my luggage, get my flight ticket, go back.
No.
Get the train all the way around JFK again, get to their terminal, go through with the gate pass, go through, sat with them for hours. The flight got delayed. My wife's flight got delayed like 3 hours. And at one point, finally, I'm like, my flight was an hour after hers, original one. And so I have to leave. And I leave her with two kids at JFK. And it was like, it's like that kid in the rearview mirror of the window watching the other kid from the orphanage just driving away, to a home, to a family. And she was with the kids. And I was like, I got a 5:30 flight. So I jump over. Then I get back out through, have to go back onto the train to get to my terminal. I go to JFK. I fly to Detroit. I don't know if you've been to the Detroit airport.
I have.
It's really big.
It's huge.
It's huge. And so at the end of the day, my legs were killing me. I didn't walk anywhere except for airports. 5 miles. I walked 5 miles.
In airports?
In airports, from a rental car to the gate, back out to the other terminal, back to that one, back to that one, back to Detroit, back to 5 miles. I was like, I go, no wonder my legs are killing me. I landed in Detroit before she took off from JFK.
Seriously?
She was not happy. And the whole flight she could text me, and she just was like, this is gruesome. They won't do anything I tell them to. I mean, everyone's got to wear the mask. It's just flying with kids now it's even worse than it's ever been.
Yeah. And Saturday, you and I were actually both in New York, but we did not see each other.
I know, dude. You've got to. So when you showed me the first picture of where you were, I almost was like, we have to go there. Tell everyone
that I did do that unintentionally. I was like, I would see if I can bait him here.
I go, but here's the other thing of why I'm not. And by the way, Detroit has this great bar scene going on, like hanging out. I'm working and stuff. I'm really going to tear it up, but I'm afraid to go inside because in my job, I landed, got COVID tested before I could go to set. And one other guy tested positive in the cast. And so he's quarantining in this hotel for 10 days. Can't leave the room. And so when I talked to the guy before I left Jersey, I was like, dude, because I was with kids. I was in New York City. I went through Times Square. I was hanging out, and I'm vaccinated. So I'm not like afraid that it's going to kill me. But right. I'm like, if I test positive, if I get to Detroit and test positive, my wife will lose. If she goes, I'm like, baby, I'm quarantined for 10 days. She would lose her mind. So I did an at-home test in Jersey before I left, just to make sure, because at least I could quarantine with family there or whatever. So I tested, and it's super scary. Yeah, I think you're gonna die, but you're super scary. Like, oh, shit, I don't want to quarantine, man. And so I had a COVID test, right? Everyone on the set, and so I'm super cautious because I'll get fired. I'll have to quarantine. You know, like most people aren't scared because they're not doing testing at Starbucks every day for their job, you know?
Right.
And so I have a job where it's like, I'll lose my job. And so I'm super cautious. Otherwise, dude, we were in the car and we were coming to, where were you?
I was at the American Dream Mall. And the American Dream Mall has, in the last couple of years, installed two very amazing things. Number one, the Dreamworks water park, which has the largest indoor wave pool in the North America. And also they have the Nickelodeon Universe indoor theme park. And my wife had a heart scan done on Friday. So I was like, you know what? Jason's going to school in a week. Let's do one last hurrah. We go to the parks. We go the first day, which is the water park they're running at a voluntary limited capacity, which was awesome. There was nobody there.
That's
no
amazing.
One.
Well, actually, put that first picture back up. I mean, you know, it's not like a Vegas pool where...
I mean, in the summertime, this place should be packed.
It's not a wet T-shirt contest in Lauderdale, but there's still enough people there to, you know, fill that half of that pool with urine. There's no two ways about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but as long as it's not COVID urine, I'm good.
No, and isn't that funny? Maybe COVID in one way is positive because we stopped worrying about the urine at water parks.
It did. Yeah. And I never even thought of the urine at all while I was there. So, so this is the water slides. So it's all themed from DreamWorks movies. So this is Madagascar. And my kids are going nuts. They're playing like the music from the movies. It's indoors. So like nobody got sunburned, which was fantastic. You know, it was a little humid in there, I will admit, which for a guy of my size is brutal. But that water slide there, that set of water slides, they lock you. They're the two tallest water slides in North America, 143 feet. I
mean, that includes Mexico, and you know those people, they'll do anything crazy, man.
Yes, correct. They lock you in a tiny tube. It closes. They're like, are you sure you want to do this? That's what he asked me. I was like, should I not? He's like, I just know you're older, and I was like, I'm older? What is that supposed to mean? And he's like, no, I'm just checking, man. And I was like, are you ageisming me right now? And then he goes, okay. So then they have speakers inside the tube, and a heartbeat starts, like the telltale heart. And then it counts down. And then, Jamie, the floor beneath you just drops and you fall. And you're free falling. Eventually you meet up with the slide. And here's the thing. I got cleansing is across the board, both rectal, oral, nasal. I was cleaned out.
Yeah.
And then they didn't bother to tell me that the other one doesn't just drop. The second one shoots into one of those big toilet bowl looking things. And so I'm spinning around this thing, having no idea, and you're moving. It was.
Yeah. I mean, you're at terminal velocity almost because you are literally free falling down. Did you do it just once and that was enough? Or were you like,
I did each one of the slides once.
Yeah.
And my wife and I would switch back and forth.
I mean, it's got to be a height regulation. Could the kids do it? The kids couldn't do that.
Jace could, but he was afraid to.
I don't blame him.
They also have the world's largest indoor water coaster, that blue on the side. It's magnet powered, and it moves. And it's How to Train Your Dragon.
It's funny, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, Game of Thrones feels like a weird beat for the kids. But as soon as I was like, oh no, it's How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, it was super fun, and we had a really good time at the water park. The second day, we went to the Nickelodeon Universe, which is an indoor theme park. Again, reduced capacity. Sure. As you can see, there's nobody even riding. Like nobody. We walked on the rides, and they're sanitizing the rides in between. We also, let's see. Also, we went to the candy shop where they sell dingleberries, which are, chocolate covered gummy bears.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like the name of it, the dingleberries, but I feel like that's. I mean, I feel like it's dirty, right? Is that a dirty?
It is dirty. It's poop. It's poop. I mean,
it's poop. It's little balls of poop that get stuck by your butt. I think I call dingleberries. Where did that come from? Where did dingleberries come from?
I don't know. We should find that out.
Yeah, if anyone knows, please put a link in to explain to us where dingleberries comes from.
But let me tell you about the parenting nightmare that happened to me at this park. As I'm sure you've heard me say, my kids are Paw Patrol fans. Mm-hmm. They have a Paw Patrol playground section. It contains this structure. That is a tiny climb up kind of thing.
Sure.
The problem with this is that when you have a 2-year-old who has decided he's going up in, do you think he's going to come back willingly?
No.
Let me just show you. So my 5-year-old is having to bend over to get out, like to climb up through. He has to bend over. Mm-hmm. So when I have to get a 2-year-old out of there, do you think he's coming willingly? No, he's not. I had to climb up through those tiny slots. I am not built for that.
No, I mean, neither am I, but you're definitely not. No, you're not.
No. And I got all the way to the top. I get a hold of the child and I'm trying to bring him down. Children are yelling at me that I'm too big to be in here.
Get out! You're clogging it up. They must have been just like, hey, get out. Well, you must have felt like Santa, like going down the chimney.
This one little girl gets really close to me. And like, she looks me straight in the eye and goes, "You are too fat to be in here." And I'm like,
I mean, it's a bit of kids, man.
But so I had to use the slide at the top to get out. Jamie, I got stuck like Winnie the Pooh.
You went down the tunnel?
I had to. I couldn't. My body was not going to make it back down through the climb.
Oh, how did they get you out?
So I had to like wiggle like all the way down the slide. I was in there like 15 minutes, and obviously children were very upset because I clogged the slide.
You were like Bruce Willis in Die Hard going through the ventilation system.
Yes, except I was in no way heroic. It was just sad.
You know, I mean, people die like that. You know that. That's a famous Studio 54 story with a woman. She went to climb in. She tried to sneak her way into Studio 54 back in the day, and she got stuck in the ventilation system and suffocated. And they found her, weeks later. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Just happened recently too. Somebody was up. I forget what they were doing. They got stuck and they couldn't get out. And that was the end of it. Nobody can, they're doing something sneaky and nobody knows. And then they, that's it.
I was worried. I was very, very concerned.
I would get claustrophobic. I would just be like, I wouldn't even go down it, I think. Yeah. You know what they should have for the kids? Instead of trying to you shouldn't have to climb in. They should just have like a spray hose, like a serious blasting hose. And then a couple holes and you just go, get out. And the kid goes, no, and go, shh. And he's like, whoa. And then you go, get out. Shh. I do that in the backyard with my kids when they don't behave. You
just hose them down?
I hose them down with the jet. Not like I don't cone it or mist it. I jet it.
You jet it.
Yeah, you got to. Otherwise, mist. They're like, mist. Shh. It's like the dogs when you shake the can of coins. They can't. Kids
they
can't
don't like it.
We should have for parent. We can't hit them anymore. Theoretically, they should have like a fire hose tank on your side that you take for kids.
Yes.
And when the kids like a cat, you would spray it. You get a bottle of spray bottle with water in it for cats, and cats will behave a little bit. You should do that with kids, and just have like when the kids like, I'm not doing that, shh, right in their face, and then they go, what the? And you go, you gonna do it now? And they go, yeah, I guess I'll do it now.
It was nightmarish. It was terrible. He had zero intention of coming back.
I mean, could have left him.
We do have a second one that looks just like him.
We went to that park last week, and remember, we were talking about the stupid arcades that I started. Jenkinsons putting smiles on kids' faces at 90. No, you're not. But my daughter wouldn't leave. She was like, I'm not leaving. And she ran off to one of the rides. And so I told my wife, I go, we're leaving. And she goes, what? We can't leave. And I go, let's go hide. And so we left and hid where we could still see her. You ever do that? And then you see her. She's like, look at me. I'm not behaving. I'll do whatever I want. And then she looks over her shoulder. And then she does like this crazy double take where she's like, wait, did they? No, they didn't. Did they? Wait, no, they wouldn't. And then if it's a battle at that point, it's chicken. And if you can wait them out, and then they'll like come. I mean, sometimes it could take a half hour, but I think sometimes you have to leave them to really teach them that they need to stay near you.
Yeah, they need to know, because like all of it's hypothetical until the fear sets in.
That's it. It's that fight or flight mentality. The what's that part of your brain? Not obligata, the medulla oblongata. Is that the one that makes you? It's the fight or flight mentality where you don't even know why that you're thinking that way. Somebody put it in the message in the comments of there's something in your brain that it's why they always go, it's why you ran away from dinosaurs, right? People always say that. And you're like, well, we weren't with the dinosaurs at the same time, but yes, it's why you have that. Something's wrong here. That spidey sense that we all have. There's something intimately built in there, but yeah. Yeah,
and they do have it. We've had to do it with Jace.
Yeah. My daughter wouldn't come in the house one night, and I just locked the doors. I locked her out.
I remember that.
Yeah. I think I might have been on the phone with you when I was doing it. I was like,
you were.
Get in the house. She goes, no. And I go, then you're out. Boop. And I locked it. And she was like, whatever.
I heard you explaining to your wife what you had done when you came inside.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, the audience of this show will never know the hilariousness of me getting like when I'm sitting here waiting for the show to start and you're just you're getting around. I hear the best stuff.
Shut up.
Hannah, your hat. Why is your hat outside?
The front lawn is strewn with her shoes, her hat, toys. It's funny when my wife flew back with the kids. I mean, my wife goes away for work at times, and I never once go, it's a nightmare here. You need to come home. But anytime I'm away, I mean, I might print out the text messages of like, I'm not going to make it. The kid's killing me. She won't do one thing I say. Put her in the corner. That's a you problem, man. I'm working. Like I was shooting yesterday on set, and she's texting me of like, I don't know what to do. How do I handle it? Handle it. Just do it. I don't know. But I think my friends say the same thing. Like it's like even when we were in Jersey, my wife would I kind of got pissed. I mean, we were getting pissed anyway because we were 14 people in the house. But we talked about it. She would sit there and she would parent through me, which I don't do. If I see something I think should be done, I just get it done. But she would be like, should Hannah be in the pool that deep? I don't know. If you don't want her there, tell her to get out. Otherwise, yeah, I guess she's fine. I don't know.
I kind of have a very similar thing where my wife, she was kind of sheltered, so she always comes to me and asks, like I have to give permission. I'm like, you are 50% owner of this family. You can make this call.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes me feel necessary.
That's true.
I never feel necessary when I'm at the house, and then I'm like, I don't make any decisions. And then all of a sudden, when I leave town for work, it's like nothing can happen until I make it happen. Yeah,
it's the same here. Although I never leave.
You see, this is my suitcase. So I had since I flew back, and they took this. I didn't have a suitcase because we were sharing one. I had to take my sister-in-law's purple suitcase.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's a Vera Bradley suitcase.
For your styling.
Yeah. I was doing this with this is what I flew with. And my wife
brings out your eyes.
Yeah, it totally brings out my eyes. And so my wife works for a pharmaceutical company. And so she has masks that are, and this was the mask I was in. I flew in this mask with that suitcase. And I think that's why the woman at JetBlue really helped me out. She was like, she saw me and I had my kids and I was like, and she went out of her way to help me. And I think sometimes if men show their feminine side, then not that guys can't like purple. I love my first bike as a kid was purple. I loved purple. But yeah, so that's how I flew. And when I was without my wife and kids, it was just me wandering through an airport with a pink mask and a Vera Bradley suitcase. And honestly, the flight attendants were super nice to me. Everybody was super nice. They were like, hey, you look like a nice guy. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said for.
Did you look totally defeated? Because you at that point, you were at the end of all of the parenting trip struggle.
You know what I did do though? I will tell you this because I told you my wife begged. She was like, "You're flying to Los Angeles. You're going to get me and the kids home, and then you're going to fly back to Detroit from New York." This was all happening. And
That's
I was like,
crazy.
Kate. I go, Kate. I go, listen. If I had to, sure, I would do it. But I have to shoot, and all my scenes, my big scenes, were Monday. I was the first shoot up in the day of this new movie, right? And so I had a lot of dialogue. I had like pages and pages of dialogue, and when I got up Sunday morning, like I flew that all day and walked 5 miles. I was either walking 5 miles or sitting in a chair all day Saturday. So on Sunday, when I woke up, I was like, for a second, I thought I had COVID. I was like, am I sick or am I just old? I was in serious pain. So I actually took the time. She never responded, but I wrote my wife an email and I said, hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate the fact that you didn't make me go to Los Angeles and then back to Detroit. And I told her why. I said, because if I was shooting today, that day, Sunday, it would have been a nightmare. I would have been so much pain. And so I took Sunday, traveling. I'm old, man.
It's not, I'm not 20 anymore either. It's rough.
And I had just spent 2 weeks with 14 people in my in-laws house. So I was
Sleeping
already
in a tiny bed,
tied to the whipping post. And so I tried to be like a good guy and write this thing about like, hey, no response. Not even got your email. Nothing.
Not even just a thumbs up emoji.
It's funny. My wife and I, I'm a letter writer. Like I write letters. Yeah. Because sometimes when I speak and I try to tell people exactly how I'm feeling or whatever, I get too emotional in the moment and crazy stuff comes out because my brain always tries to tell the joke as opposed to being sincere. So I'll write letters to my wife and be like, hey, I know we had a fight. Here's what I think's happening or whatever. And I think we should kind of maybe go down this path. Not one response. Literally never has written me a letter. Not even a card, really. She's not a card person. So she kind of a sociopath in a way, right?
Oh.
I remember one time I got a birthday card. It was an envelope, no name on the front. She goes, here for your birthday. And just threw it at me or whatever. And so I pull it out and it said, Dear Jamie, it's been... Never finished it. It was half written. Didn't put the name on the front. I said, this is... She goes, I know. The day got away from me. I had so much going on. And I was like, all right. But in a weird way, it's kind of why I think I fell for her because years earlier, I would date somebody and when you're dating somebody, you can't get them off the phone. You're like, I gotta go. And they're like, okay, but just one more thing. And you're like, no, I have to go. No, I would. And it always annoyed me. And with my wife from day one, whenever I would be like, I have to get off, click, and are you still there? She would sing. We're both of us are like, if she's like, I gotta go, I don't even say, you got it. I just hang up. And she does the exact same. We have this thing of and so I really liked it. But at some point I did think there would be some
closure.
Maybe closure is the right word.
I don't know what that is.
Not who she is. And so when she sometimes talks about, I wish I were more like this, I go, it's not who you are. like, we're not big photo people on the wall in our house. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, and then we went to somebody's house in New York and it was gorgeous. One of our cousins, and it had all the photos and memory lane and all like, it had like a bed and bath breakfast over the kitchen sink. It was just, it looked like a Restoration Hardware. It was beautiful. I was like, this is great. I could live here. But my wife will go home and then she'll buy a pillow that says love, or like family, because she wants to be like, I'm totally content with what I am. And I'm not that guy. I'm sentimental, but I never really look back. I'm not like, I don't really scroll through photos and stuff of history. And
that's interesting. I think that's really interesting, because I would have pegged you for a memories kind of guy, because you're so, ingrained in your kids' lives.
Yeah, once in a blue moon, I'll see an old photo or something. But my wife, I don't know if your wife does this, like on Friday night, all of a sudden I'll come home or something and they're all tucked in their bed. My wife's in the bed with the two kids and they're just scrolling through old photos of like, oh, Jamie, look at this video. This is Hannah at 1 laughing. And you're like, yeah, that's cute. I remember that. It was a good time.
It's interesting. Kate and Melissa do seem very similar. Especially in that kind of aspect, because Melissa she loves to look at the old memories and stuff.
Well, some of the parents from our, the kid, that's what happens is you see all these other parents, and then I don't know why moms definitely judge themselves way more against other moms than dads do. It's not really how I judge myself against other people, but you can't help it, because all of a sudden you see like super mom, who's like, the kids are impeccable, their hair is done, they're matching clothes. They all have like little lunch boxes. It's everything's just meticulous, and you're like, it's just not who it wasn't who my parents were. Like, they were great parents, but we weren't. It was melee every day.
One time in high school, I was gone for like 9 days, and my family didn't even look for me.
Wait, back up. What?
I was at a friend's house. I was just like. I never called them or anything. They never looked for me at all. So
how old were you?
16.
Nobody.
No.
Nobody were. They never were like. Where?
Never looked. They didn't look for me.
You're lucky. Did they move? Did they move away?
No, because eventually I ran out of clean clothes, and then I had to go back. But they didn't look for me, and they didn't even seem weird when I came home. They looked. Oh, hey. And I was like, been gone 9 days. Nobody even wondered if I was dead in a ditch somewhere.
9. 16.
That's why I'm such a proactive father.
You also, we've talked about this before, that you and your dad are not close.
No. We have, it's complicated.
God, when I was 16, I stayed out one night at some party. I came home. I remember the sun was coming up. And as I walked in, it was dead silent in there. And I was walking up the stairs, and I heard her voice from the room. She's like, "You're moving out. I can't have this anymore. I can't live like this." I was like, I was like, I'm not moving out. I'm not going anywhere. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have any money. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's interesting. So what was it like? What was your childhood like?
It's funny. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm the youngest of 6, but I was really an only child because the gap was so big. Like
how much older is the next sibling?
Oh, the next was like 7 years older, and the 2 oldest were in college when I was born. So I was kind of a crazy accident. But yeah,
are you close to them now?
We're not crazy close, but we're not close. We talk here and there. Just have different lives, I guess. I don't know.
My sister, my sister and I don't have beef by any means, but I don't see her very often.
No, me neither. Mine are on the East Coast. And also I think it is when you get married, like the husband's family fades away a little bit more than the wife's family. Like for most times we visit the wife's family.
Mm. Yeah. Ours are both pretty close. So we do see them probably an equal amount of time.
You remember when you first got married and you had to go like, all right, you can have Thanksgiving, but we're going to Christmas and then next year we'll flip it. And it's
we still like are in that, and we did set a ground rule. We've decided that Christmas is ours as this household. We are no longer going on Christmas. And am I going to get struck down?
You know what I forgot is I'm next to my hotel's like downtown. You know what else is downtown? Tiger Stadium. I think it's Comerica Park.
Oh, I was like, I thought that maybe the rapture was happening the way.
No, I'm in a room I believe that's the back of the elevator. I'm not joking. The first night I thought we were having I was like, is there an earthquake? And then I was like, I think it's the elevator. So I've been sleeping with a wave machine, the white sound. And then I'm next to the ballpark. So this crazy Tiger Stadium, like 50,000 people are right around the hotel, just wandering aimlessly. Oh, they have these pedal carts. Have you seen these things?
Yes, I have. They're so cool.
It's even I was like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. So it's a bar, for those of you who don't know. This is actually, I think it's a Detroit thing, or is it maybe Cleveland, maybe Cincy? I don't know.
I think it's that region.
Yeah, it's people who like beer. It's just people who
I do.
And so there's a little cart, and it's a pedal cart, but it's big. It's one big bar, and it seats maybe 12 people, six on each side, and then one person pedals, but everybody has pedals. So you can pedal and you're driving sideways. So if you're going down the road, you're going like this. Woo, party on! It's really funny. And I forget what it's called, but I was like, oh man, that's a genius idea. And they're always cruising around.
Hey, speaking of marriage, shall we roll into our newest visit with our good friend Billy Crystal?
Well, the thing I love about this segment is that each week we do one, I learn a little bit more about how to be a better husband. I think we're learning to be better at coupling through Billy Crystal. And honestly, it still amazes me that we got him to come on the show and help us with this. And
he's good at it.
He's really, who doesn't listen to Bill? He should be president. Who doesn't listen? We were thinking about that the other night. Like who was one person who could unite the country? I feel like Billy Crystal's one of them.
Let's take a look.
Welcome our guest, Billy Crystal, who is a licensed marriage counselor, apparently, and he has a need to come on and help us out. And Billy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. You're not kind enough. Thank you. Did I say that?
Yeah, that's okay. You're right. I'm not kind.
I meant too kind, but I didn't say it.
No. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people say that to me, where I'm not kind enough.
It was a fallopian slip.
Kind, but
I like you.
Yeah, sometimes I'm kind enough.
There you go.
But that's a great segue into my problem, because maybe it's something I'm doing, but my wife has a serious addiction to her phone. Ooh. And I feel like it's driving a wedge in our marriage. And I keep telling her that she has an addiction to her phone, but she's not there yet. She's not accepting it, but she's on it all the time, like constantly.
Ooh. Boy, that's
rough. Always like, oh, I have to do this. This is for work. I needed these shoes for an outfit for work. It's something for something. So it's always, she has to be on the phone at that moment.
But Janie, is it really her addiction to the phone? Or have you become, over the years of the marriage, less interesting? Because I tell you, I'm on the phone constantly at Clipper games, except for the playoffs, because there's a lot of games where they're out of it by halftime. So what am I going to do? I'm courtside. I can't leave. People are going to think I'm not a good fan, so I get on my phone. The problem could be that you're just not as interesting as the content on her phone, unless she's looking up pictures of you, in which case that's kind of creepy, and I would run.
Well, she's my wife. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. I can't.
That much I know. You're right.
So what you're saying, which is an interesting point, is that perception is it's her fault, but in reality, it might be my shrinking persona and my ability to entertain her. But it's tough because I'm facing the entire internet. Obviously, you're always going to find something more entertaining than me on the internet.
It's a lot of competition.
It's a lot of competition. Basically, when you enter marriage, you're out in the desert, and then you have kids, and you step in a big puddle of quicksand, and you're slowly sinking, and your wife is the branch. And then the cell phone is the sun that's killing that branch, that's drying it out. And so now what you have, instead of a branch that you can grab onto and hoist yourself out, is you have this brittle little stick that snaps. And so
That makes sense.
Pretty soon you just have to accept it and just let yourself go in the quicksand and get sucked out the other end and end up in Las Vegas, baby.
Dude, trust me, I would love to get sucked down into some quicksand right now. Just like a nice, think of the sleep. Oh.
Absolutely.
I'd like to go to Vegas right now.
Vegas would be fun too. Yeah, either quicksand
Vegas
or
through the quicksand.
both.
Lots
would
of
be
hot
good.
living.
So if that is the case and it's truly my fault, then how do I make myself more entertaining to maybe draw her attention from the phone? Do I light myself on fire?
I hate to say this, but you got that friend with a hot wife. You got to invite them over, and you got to just hint at a little bit of swinger action. The threat. There's a threat there, just a little bit of threat, like, ooh, hey, we should have a sleepover. I don't want you guys to drive home drunk, and I don't want you to sleep on the couch. We've got a beautiful king-size mattress. We can all sleep together. You know what? It sounds innocent.
So
you're tossing that possibility.
Have you done that in your marriage?
15 times.
15?
Never worked. It's never worked because the husband is hotter than the wife. You got to make sure she's hot. I don't mean to sound sexist.
That would be when Harry met Sally, met George, met Ethel. So basically, what you're saying for me to save my marriage is to start having a key party and start swinging. Great advice.
Have a key party.
I'll even gift you the bowl, Jamie.
Yeah. You just use any.
I was going to suggest the whole Patrick Swayze thing, and you're doing the clay pottery and all that kind of stuff. But it's messy. It all dries up. Things get sticky. You get stuck together. Your kids have to get a hose on you like two dogs. It doesn't work.
All right. So listen, my wife and I are going to throw a key party, I guess.
Throw a key party.
Listen, I'm gonna tell her that we're gonna throw a key party. When she goes, "What?" I go, "Listen, Billy Crystal said we should do this, and he's a licensed counselor."
And if you can trust anybody, isn't it really Billy Crystal?
Come on.
Has Billy Crystal ever lied? Like,
have I ever lied?
In a film? No, he's an honest, trustworthy, outstanding actor. He's too likable. Has he ever played the bad guy? No.
I don't think so.
He's America's sweetheart.
I am America's sweetheart.
Well, I think no true words have been said, and thanks to Billy for kind of. Yeah, I mean, everything he says about the twig that bends, doesn't break. There's a lot of stuff going on in there, and obviously, I think the main thing I took from that was A, always have a key party.
Always.
B, try to get to Vegas as often as possible.
You should, exactly. You should try that when you get home.
Key party in Vegas and just kill two birds with one stone. But super. Again, we need someone who will unite the country.
We do.
Billy Crystal's close. You know who played last night here in Detroit?
Who?
Dave Chappelle, right? 2 blocks over at the Fillmore.
Really? Do you know him?
No, I don't. I don't at all. But the director opened for him back in the day. The director.
He's a comic. That's how you know him.
He is a comic, big Comedy Store guy, but he's directed this like his third movie. So yeah, Mike Binder was a Comedy Store. A lot of guys are Comedy Store guys. Robin Williams, not only Robin Williams, but Michael Keaton was a Comedy Store guy. A lot of actors and directors started out.
I did not know that Keaton was a comedy guy.
He was a big comic. Michael Keaton was before he became a movie star. Yeah, a lot of guys.
He's going back. He's doing another Batman and also and another Beetlejuice.
He's a great Batman. I love him as Batman. But we need someone. So I thought the other night we were talking about the same thing because Chappelle nowadays, he's not maybe the comedian he once was, but he's better. But he's a philosopher in a weird way.
He is, yes, definitely.
You watch his specials, you're like, I don't find myself laughing outrageously funny, but I can't stop watching him. He's the most watchable person, and everybody agrees with him because he says it in such a way of like, man, don't be a dick. And you're like, yeah, why are we dicks? And so maybe a double ticket of like Billy Crystal and Dave Chappelle. I mean, it's only a matter of time before somebody like that wins. I mean, somebody's already won, but he was divisive. He won it by being divisive. Is there someone who can do it by uniting? I don't know.
Well, there's rumors that The Rock is going to run.
I know. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I love.
He was super nice to me when I met him. The Rock was.
Oh, he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. I just, at some point he's going to have to sit down and talk to Angela Merkel and go like, and he's like, yo, did you see Hobbs and Shaw? And she's like, I did. I liked it very much. Maybe that is the approach. Instead of just going straight into foreign policy, maybe he should like break the ice and He's like, have you seen Young Rock on NBC? It's about my childhood and me growing up. And they go, I did. And maybe we should figure out this nuclear detente going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's super awkward when I met him though, because I'm like, my height is directly at his nipple. Like my eye line is right there. It's super weird.
Let me ask you, how far do you think he could throw you?
Throw me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me think about that. Because a pro wrestler, obviously. So he's chucked.
How far could he throw your child?
Oh, wow. I mean, he's clearing 20 feet with one of the twins.
I would argue, like, if he wasn't.
Do you think that far?
Yeah.
I mean, is it a one-handed toss? Like, give me the parameters.
I thought more like a hammer throw.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's making at least 40.
And you spin like 3 times and then just launch it. I think I could throw a 2 or 3 year old 20 feet.
Yeah. So he's clearing in a hammer throw style. Yeah, he's clearing 40.
I would say so.
Yeah, he's easily clearing 40. But if he just picked me up and heaved me
8 feet. I
was gonna clear 10.
Maybe just because of his height, he would get it from the height. But yeah.
Well, and I mean,
I saw him at a gym.
I mean, when he was pro wrestling, you would see him like toss a dude. So
I went to a gym. I was at an Equinox in Santa Monica one day, and I walked in and I looked over to my right, and it was The Rock, and I was like, and at that time he had. I mean, the dude's. Was he like 60 years old now? It's crazy. He's a lunatic. He was so.
He's late 40s, right?
No, he's late 40s. Yeah, I'm 6'1", and I look over, and I think I might have turned around and walked away and been like, "What am I doing? This is a waste of time. What am I doing here?" He was just. It was like the delts and the. I never understood the want for that. It just felt like a lot of work to get there. I don't know.
Here's the thing, like I guess being built like a thumb for so many years that like I look like a thumb, and I would like some sort of definition that's not round.
Yeah. But listen, back in the like the 1700s, they would have thought you were the richest guy on the block.
That is not correct now.
No, not anymore. I think it might be coming back though. I don't know.
Times are changing, right?
Here's another problem is that you like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it was like you got to get you got to lose your water weight, you got to get thin skin, and everyone was getting shredded. Now they've turned it and been like, hey, no matter what you look like, be comfortable with who you are. Just be happy being whatever you are. So now I see people out. As I was walking out earlier, I saw this guy running, and I was like, it's not take your shirt off weather, dude. You need to, and you don't. It's not a great look for you. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to look better in a shirt. A lot of times, listen, we've talked about this with women. It's like those yoga pants don't look quite as good as you think they do. Fine. I want you to be comfortable. But if you think that you're drawing the attention, if you're just doing it for sheer comfort, got it. Feels like a pair of loose sweatpants would be more comfortable. But if that's what you love, but if you're trying to draw attention, it's not the
whole reason I stopped wearing spandex bodysuits.
Right. Although, I mean, the Iron Man outfit is pretty great.
Yeah, if I had been in my single days and I had that suit just by the reaction of my wife, I would have had a good night. I know. I used to, every Halloween, in West Palm Beach, Florida, where I was living pre-Melissa, they have this event every Halloween called Moonfest, and they shut down like 5 city blocks. And you buy a wristband and you can just walk up to a bar and they give you alcohol. And it's like 20,000 people in costumes. And it is a single college guy's greatest night of his life.
Absolutely.
I was Buzz Lightyear. And
you were Buzzed Lightyear.
I was here. And I got drunk super fast, and at 1:00 in the morning, I got belligerent with a Thor, and Thor ripped my wing off, and I just he just tossed me down in the street. And I was just like, and I couldn't get back up because the wings, like, it was like top heavy. Not a good night for me.
Well,
but
you don't mess with Thor. He's got a hammer.
yeah, wasted buzzed Lightyear didn't know.
Well, here's the problem too. If you get too buzzed as Buzz Lightyear, then you can't become Woody, and then it's a bad night altogether. When you all of a sudden you meet the Black Widow and she's like, "Hey, let's do this," and she's like, "Whoa," and you're like, "I can't. I'm not Woody. I can't be Woody tonight. I'm Buzz Lightyear. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you turn into like the little dinosaur or the corkscrew.
The dog. I was the piggy bank.
Yeah, Slinky. Yeah, the piggy bank. You turn into like
wasn't good.
No, it's terrible. But it was West Palm Beach. You said it's like you talked about like Florida where you're like, it was crazy. It was like this one time of the year you could just walk around and grab drinks. And I was like, it's called Florida. And it's called every day. I'm not sure if you've been to Florida during other parts of the year.
But this is a whole other thing. Like it's because I was living there, and that is correct.
Florida's. I mean, it is funny how it gets such a bad rap. Like it's got such a weird. Like every headline from Florida is just like, guy on meth runs into 7-Eleven, jams a baby crocodile up his ass and robs the place and then leaves his wallet on the counter. And you're like, Florida. It always blows my mind.
A while back, I was like an hour away. Like I had left the Burger King an hour before, and the guy or the woman threw a live alligator in the drive-thru window. And I had been there literally an hour before.
Dude, actually, we both just segued magnificently to our hero dad of the week.
We did.
You know what? You set it up, man.
So, for those of you who have not seen this, picture it. You're with your family at your child's birthday at some sort of zoo-like facility. And the handler of the alligator, who you trust, is going to be okay. They're going to be fine. And then things escalate. Shall we show the video?
Roll it.
Whoa. Uh-oh, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? We got trouble in here. What do you want me to do? Okay. Hey, we got trouble! What?
Did you see the end of it?
I did, yeah.
I hadn't seen the beginning of it. There's so much to unravel there. It's, first of all, I love when she's like, get back. It's an alligator. Not sure you trained them very well. You might have wanted to feed them before you stuck your arm in the tank, but
and when you knew there were children coming.
Luckily the children didn't go. I mean, were they going to let their kids pet the alligator? I'm not letting my child pet an alligator.
No, I don't feel like that's a good idea. And my favorite guy in the whole thing, like the hero dad is fantastic, but the guy in the green shirt who kind of like stands there, he is my favorite guy in the entire video.
He holds his hand over it for some reason. It was a weird thing. He was just holding it. And I was like, what exactly are you doing?
Like, are you pretending to be a baby bird? What are we doing?
When I first saw it, all I could think of was the mom, like she's online going, mermaid. Nah, it's been done. Unicorn. That seems interesting. No. Mickey and Minnie. We did that last. Alligator. You know what? Let's do the alligator. You're like, I have some questions about bringing a live alligator. Not like a baby, like a effing alligator.
He's what, 6-7 feet?
Dude! That one family went to Disney World and the 2-year-old got eaten.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Look, if there is
open Jurassic Park, this goes horribly.
Exactly. Like if you have seen those movies, you know it's a terrible idea.
Well, for my birthday this year, I want to do the Lake Placid theme. Where you like, does Bill Pullman come in and is he the sheriff and when we all get eaten? The whole thing. The dude's a rock star. I feel like I would have jumped in and jumped on.
I definitely would have. I definitely would have helped.
I feel like I feel like I would have. Even the second guy in, I would have been the second guy in just as much. Because if you didn't see the end of it,
dangling the fake mouse.
So he kind of pries it, and she gets her hand out, and then this poor dude, he's riding it, and the thing is writhing under him. The thing's $150, 200 pounds. I mean, it's a legit.
And they're big on the roll, like they call it the death roll, right?
Did you see how he got out? He rides it. It finally calms, and he goes, and he leaps to the edge and jumps out before the thing knows what's happened. But I was like, dude,
why is there not a tranquilizer dart like right there?
It's so funny because I have a huge bit on my new album that comes out September 17th about going to kids' birthday parties where everyone keeps trying to outdo each other, and they're building these. It's like the gender reveal parties where they're setting forest fires where you're like, can we just calm down on this stuff? I mean, alligator birthday party, child's birthday.
It doesn't. I bet the stock at Gatorland dropped severely today.
Yeah, dude. I told you the story how I petted the cheetah with Jack Hanna at the zoo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You have they're wild animals, man. Every day I read in the newspaper how somebody gets eaten by pit bulls. They're mauled by dogs or something. And you're like, yeah, they're animals, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, here's the thing. At my job doing the process server work, it was never people. I mean, I was threatened by people, but the number one thing that happened to me was dog attacks. And it was like something like 30 times in 4 years I was attacked by dogs.
Did you ever get bit?
Oh, yeah. In fact, to the one time I did a serve. The guy had driven his car through the front of like a Subway or something, like the restaurant. And he ran and they managed to find him. And when I got there, he turned the dogs loose. And he waited till I was far enough away from the car that I wasn't going to make it back. And they came out of the house in a dead sprint right at me. And I'll try and I used to have a folder on my computer of my best serves or my best of, which is just basically crazy shit happening.
Do you wear body cams? Do you have body
you have to, because people lie.
Oh, they said he never served me.
Yep. Yeah, people lie, or they say that you like accosted them, and then.
So what happened? Did the dogs bite you?
Yes. He had grabbed hold of the back of my arm. He tore me up. I'm bleeding profusely. I got down the road. I wrapped it in a shirt, and I drove to the police station, and they had to go and get the dogs because they saw my video, and as soon as they saw my video, they're like, well, he clearly set these loose on you. And
he's a dick too, because those poor dogs got put down because that guy was a dick.
Well, I don't know what happened on that end of it. I know that they had to be quarantined for 10 days, and they had to take them for 10 days and test them, and that I had to wait for test results or something.
Do you ever carry a weapon like a stick?
I have bear mace.
Well, again, we got to go back to the hose with kids. You could have the water hose on this side and the bear mace side, just level dipped. And if a kid comes at you, shh. And if the bear comes at you, shh.
My luck, I'd use the bear mace accidentally at the plane.
On the kids, where you're like, oh, get away, kids! Oh no! And the kid's like, ah. And the same with the bear. You'd go, water, and the bear's like, water, and then he eats you, and he goes, oh, delicious, 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 Jason, delicious. Oh. Did you watch Suicide Squad yet?
Not yet.
The shark man's pretty funny. He's like, eat, shark, eat. It's pretty funny. I actually really liked it.
Is it Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah. It's super funny. Yeah, it's super
I
funny.
like James Gunn's movies a lot.
Dude, that guy is awesome. So funny. And the film I did, it was made by the Winter brothers, Lars and Peter, and Lars is the first AD on all of those. He's the first AD on like literally every Marvel, all the way back to the first Iron Man.
Really?
Yeah, he's the first Iron Man, first AD. He's a rock star. And so they started their own production company, and those are the guys who made Aftermath. That's killing it on Netflix now that I was in. But yeah, I really loved it. I thought Suicide Squad was super in it. I did think and I love her, a little too much Harley Quinn. They were like, look, Margot Robbie's the most gorgeous creature on earth. We have to show more and more of her. But I did think it was a little, it didn't help
heavy.
A little too heavy. We're like, we got it. She's Harley Quinn. I got it. But the other characters, dude, I thought it was a brilliant take. Watch it. I don't want to wreck anything because it's.
See, here's my thing is like, I know that it's gory, so I have to wait till Jace goes to bed, and so I'm not gonna be able to watch it in a sitting. I'm gonna have to watch it in chunks.
That was the best part about the hotel without the kids, is that I was like, first night I was like, here we go, and I put Suicide Squad and I watched Suicide Squad without the kids because you couldn't. It's gruesome.
I've heard
It is, but it's so gruesome that it's like John Wick. It's so gruesome. You're like, yeah, it's an artistic form. It's beautiful, and it's gorgeous. It's really
I love James Gunn's style.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan of his since like back in he did Slither.
Yeah, super fun guy. Dude, you know what? Listen, I'm on the road. I want to tell everyone this kind of turned into just a crazy conversation, but I forget for a while that this show is going out to people as we talk, and It's been super fun and cathartic because I've been on the road. I haven't been home for like 3 weeks, and so we were going to have guests. We kind of canceled them, and we said, "Look, let's just catch up and do this." And I love it, but we have Larry the Cable Guy is coming in 2 weeks. We have a bunch of big guests who are coming in, so it was kind of fun to do this. And then we have the live shows. You want to tell people a little bit?
Yes. September 24th and 25th, Sayre, Pennsylvania. If you go to our facebook.com/The Parents Lounge, tickets are available. We had to open up the second show, the Friday night show.
Yeah, we're doing
Saturday's selling quick. And today, the posters came out.
Yeah. Pretty great. I'm excited,
It's going to be super fun. And
crazy few weeks of work and starting to go out and do some live comedy stuff. So, everything's kind of surging again, and I hope everybody stays safe and we can get through this and get through the school year and just get back to some sense of normalcy, man. Because if we could just agree to be kind to each other and try to make this thing work, man. At some point you're like, good Lord, the last couple of years have just been a nightmare. And so, when you're raised, I have single friends who are like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
You've mentioned that. And are they still feel this way?
So happy. I saw some studies. Some people they're working 2 jobs at home. Did you see that?
I did. That's nuts.
Because they're not in the office. They don't care. So they're scheduled their Zooms around each other and they collect 2 paychecks. And a lot of people don't care. But I think most parents are like, this is the worst time in our lifetime to have raised children. And so it's been super hard. And all of our kids are going back to school starting this week. My kids are back next week. And
mine, Jay starts next Thursday.
Yeah. So maybe if we can all try to not be so self-centered, and if we can think about things from other people's point of view and try to be a little respectful of other people's feelings, I think we'll get through this fall a lot easier,
Yes, for sure.
Super fun tonight, man. I really
like this format.
These Tuesday things are super fun, and they're all over the place. We either have big guests or it's just the two of us shooting the crap, but it's we're documenting life as a parent.
Yes, and we're about to head into a whole new world with school, and we're gonna meet the first time.
I know. Star-crossed lovers. All right, let's wrap up this beast so I can go tear up Detroit.
Yes, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us here every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And you can catch us at facebook.com/The Parents Lounge, youtube.com/Jamie Kaler, and twitch.tv/The TPL Show. Also, the audio podcast version of the show is available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, everywhere you get your podcast, we're there. So check us out.
Be sure to watch Aftermath. It's a scary film on Netflix right now. It's in the top, I think it's like in the top 5 in the world or something. It's crazy. And so that's exciting. And I got some other stuff coming out in the fall we'll talk about later.
And
that's it, my brother. Super fun. I guess we'll see everybody else next week. Do me a favor, hit us all with your contacts. Be sure to share what you like and bring others in. If you know there's other parents who are having a rough time trying to get through this thing, then that's really what this community is about. It's trying to help everybody kind of understand that they are not alone, man. We're all going through the same crap. So jump on board and let's hear your story.
Good night, everybody.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death, go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents Lounge is the cure to staying sane.